You may have heard about the woman in California who was text messaging on her cell phone while driving down the highway at 70 miles per hour. She didn't see 8 signs warning her that there was construction ahead, and so she slammed into a line of cars that was stopped at the construction site. The car she hit first burst into flames, and the driver in that car died in a fiery inferno. Think about it. One moment, the victim was minding her own business, stopped at a construction site, and in an instant, she was engulfed in a raging fire. The driver was charged with gross involuntary manslaughter, and last week, a jury found her guilty. The judge, who was incredulous at reports that the driver had been seen text messaging while driving in the weeks following the accident, threw the book at her and sentenced her to the maximum of 6 years in prison. Well, what is the significance of this case to church leaders? Most pastors and church staff members use cell phones. If they cause an accident while driving and it is later determined that they were chatting on their cell phone or text messaging at the time of the accident, this may be compelling evidence of negligence that can be imputed to the church. Keep in mind that several states have enacted legislation that forbids the use of cell phones while driving. This is important because an accident that is caused by someone while engaged in conduct in violation of law constitutes negligence per se, meaning that negligence is assumed without the need for additional proof. And if the accident occurs while driving a vehicle in a manner that manifests a high degree of risk to others, this may constitute involuntary manslaughter under state law, for which the driver can be criminally liable. It should be noted that cell phone companies maintain records on the time and duration of every call that is made, and so it is easy for law enforcement to ascertain if a driver was chatting on a cell phone or text messaging at the time of an accident. The bottom line is that the risks associated with the use of cell phones while driving are astronomical and the benefit minimal. It is difficult to imagine an emergency that would be so urgent that a driver could not pull off the road to make a call. With regard to incoming calls, the driver should simply hand the phone to another adult in the vehicle or pull off the road periodically to check for messages. Church leaders should consider the adoption of a policy addressing cell phone use. First and foremost, such a policy should take into account state and local laws regulating the use of cell phones while driving. If such use is prohibited, your policy should so state and forbid the use of cell phones by anyone driving on official church business. It is imperative that such a policy be communicated regularly to all drivers. What if cell phone use while driving is not prohibited by your state or local laws? Or perhaps your state allows the use of hands-free cell phones while driving. In these cases, even though the law may permit cell phone use, at least in certain circumstances, this does not mean that drivers cannot be found negligent by a jury for causing an accident while they are chatting or texting on their cell phone. And remember, a driver's negligence can be imputed to the church if it occurs in the course of church business. For this reason, the most prudent policy would be an outright ban on the use of cell phones by persons driving vehicles on church business.